Good afternoon. It's Lynn here from the Learn English Network. And yes, Thursday afternoon. And I will put my hand on heart and say, I'm sorry, I forgot to schedule today's session. But if it's in the calendar, it will take place. So always check the calendar. And if you think I've forgotten to schedule something, schedule, doesn't matter. We'll cover that later. Just let me know on the forum, okay? So I'm not expecting anybody to join me today, but we're going to go through the text anyway because there's a lot to cover. And I promised last week that we would actually do this. And today's topic is going to be that tricky little thorn in the side of English learners, okay? And that is spelling. So today's topic is English spelling. Let's start with what it is, okay? Basically, it's the writing down of letters or the naming out of letters. So when you spell, every time you write, you're spelling, okay? Because you're writing out each word letter for letter. Every time you spell when you're speaking, it's calling out the words, the letters of the word, okay? And remember, a word is made up of letters. It is spelt. So knowing your alphabet is very important. There is nothing worse than somebody asking you how you spell your name and you're like, have you got a pen and paper? So get your alphabet, drill, 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 practice, practice, practice. Okay, when you want to know how a word is spelt, you can ask someone. You might hear, how do you spell it? How is it spelt? So, for example, how is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious spelt? Or how do you spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? It's just a word. Okay, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is a made-up word, but it's only a word. Okay, so don't panic when you see long words. They are words. That's it. Oh, if you just heard a clunk, that was my tea arriving. Lucky me. Now, another question. Does it matter? Does spelling matter? In the age of texting and emojis, does it still matter? Yes. I'm a teacher. I'm going to say yes. That said, on a shopping list, when you're texting your friends, maybe not so much. In an article, in an essay, or on an official form, your CV maybe? Yes, it really does. Because it reflects your knowledge of and your competence in using the language. That's any language, any spelling. Okay? Now, don't confuse typos with bad spelling. Typos happen. I make typos. I know how to spell, but my fingers still get twisted. Okay, typos are when your fingers slip on the keyboard or when your fingers slip onto the keying in on your phone, or maybe when your phone autocorrects mistakenly. That's also a typo. Bad spelling is when you don't know how to spell a word, okay? And especially if it's a simple word or a common word and you don't know how to spell it, I would call that a spelling mistake, okay? When it's a typo, when you've just mistyped it, then it's a typo, okay? So don't accuse someone of having bad spelling if they haven't learnt to type. Typos happen. Spelling mistakes happen, but they shouldn't happen too often, okay? Once you've been corrected, then you know and you need to make adjustments. You need to learn. I sound like a teacher. Okay, spelling rules. Yeah, or spelling rules. Depends how you look at it. Like a child. when you're learning a language, English in this case, you start by learning to spell small words. So, remember the dog? Can you write that word? That's the question. You remember it's a dog, but can you write it? Okay, I just clicked on the wrong thing and I'm just opening my Skype. So bear with me whilst I quit it. So, there it goes, look. Stop it, Skype, stop it. So remember the dog. Can you write the word? Okay. Doesn't take much, does it? It's easy, easy, easy. Can you remember the cat? Can you write the word? Yes, of course I can. And that was Skype ignoring me and opening anyway. Don't send me a message. I'm quitting now. Okay. Okay. Remember the egg? Can you write the word? Hey, easy peasy. Easy peasy, apple squeezy. I don't think I'll save that one for posterity. Okay. So, dog is spelt D-O-G. Cat is spelt C-A-T. That's where the alphabet comes in. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. That's how easy it should be to say your ABC. So, dog is spelt D-O-G, cat is spelt C-A-T. Egg, well, egg is spelt E-G-G or E-double-G. When we're spelling something out verbally, when we're speaking, we often have, when two letters or even numbers are next to each other, we use double. Like 007, you've probably heard of him. So double G, double O, two letters the same. You'll often come across double P, double D, double N. These words, these letters double up. Okay, so get used to the word double when someone is telling you how to spell a word. It just means two of the same letter. Okay, so egg is spelt E-double-G. When you hear that, you go E-double-G. Oh, E-double-G. That was a typo. Okay, I know how to spell egg, but leg is just a single G. Egg, single G. Okay, just egg, double G. I don't think I'll save that one either. Okay, so how can you learn to spell a word? As you're learning English, you'll find lots of words. We call it vocabulary, and it's important to learn vocabulary and how the words are spelt. Okay, so how can you learn to spell a word? Well, when you're first learning, maybe just try writing it down. Does it look right when you write it? Right. Ooh, welcome to English pronunciation. Does it look right when you write it? Now that shows you one reason spelling is important. Okay, if you write, does it look right when you write it? That's nonsense. Okay, it's got to be, does it look right when you write it? Okay, so another little tip, do you already have the word in your vocabulary lists? You should. You should have egg and dog and cat and a couple of others. Another tip, is there another word you can spell to help you? Does it sound like another word? Now be careful there, of course. Really important, think. Can you look it up in your dictionary? Is there a root word you can spell and then add the ending or the beginning sometimes? We'll look at that in a moment. Is there a spelling rule that you can use? There are spelling rules in English. Again, be careful. We'll look at that in a minute. Can you break the word down into smaller parts? Syllables. We'll look at those in a minute. And can you use a mnemonic to help? Is there something that will help you remember? We'll look at some of those in a minute. So, write it. Does it look right? Try it. Write down some words. Cat, dog, egg, chicken. Write down chicken. See if you can remember how to spell it. Do you already have the word in your vocabulary lists? I put lists. You're going to need them. Keep a notebook or a list on your computer of new vocabulary. There are vocabulary training programs on the internet and apps as well on the internet. App is spelt A-P-P. Write it down. And test yourself regularly. Okay? Write down the words, put down a picture, test the spelling. Get someone else to test you. Get a friend to test you or a member of your family. Ask your teacher for a test. Your teacher will love you. Could you test us? I would ask them for that on your own, though. Your students, your fellow students might not love you quite so much. But test yourself. It's your spelling, your responsibility. Is there another word you can spell to help you? Okay, build on what you already know. Now, O-U-L-D, funny little bunch of letters, but 3 really important verbs in English, modal verbs. Don't worry, they're coming. Could, would, should. So you've got C-O-U-L-D, would, W-O-U-L-D, should, S-H-O-U-L-D. O-U-L-D is the common spelling that they have, the spelling they have in common. So once you can spell one, you can spell the others. Okay? Can you look it up in your dictionary? Your dictionary is your friend. Can you look it up on Google? Google is like a dictionary. Now, to look a word up, you need to know how to spell it. But if you have a dictionary, they can be very helpful. There is a website called Word Hippo. It will give you a list of words beginning with a letter or a series of letters, or ending with a letter or a series of letters. So even if you can't remember the whole word, you can remind yourself of how it's spelt. So it's called Word Hippo. Okay? Easy to remember. Hippo with a double P. Look, Hippo. So go online, find Word Hippo. There are other programs that do similar things. In some ways, online dictionaries benefit you to paper dictionaries because they will help you in spelling. Okay. Can you break the word into syllables? Welcome to syllables. A syllable is part of the pronunciation of a word. So you take each vowel sound, with or without the consonants around it, and you take each part of the word using these vowel sounds, and then you can clap the syllables. Okay, for example, there is one syllable in the words egg, dog, cat. Okay, the vowel sound e, o, a. Egg, one syllable. Dog, one syllable. Cat, one syllable. There are 2 syllables in our friend the chicken. Chicken. I, in. I. Chick, in. 2 syllables. Okay? Now, I'm going to clap out this sentence here. Can you break the word into syllables? Syllables, syllables, 3 syllables. So clapping, learning your syllables, hearing, listening carefully can help your spelling. Okay? Did you remember how to spell chicken? Let me know. Okay. Is there a root word you can spell and then add the ending or a new beginning? For example, friend, friends, plural. Remember friend, F-R-I-E-N-D. Add an S, plural, F-R-I-E-N-D-S. Plus L-Y. You get friendly. Friendly cat. Meow. And the root word is friend. Okay, that's the root word. Add an UN, un, to friendly, unfriendly, an unfriendly frog. Ribbit. The root word is still friend. Here we have friend, friend, and the letters un and ly, or ly, when you add them to a word, they're called the prefix. Un is a prefix, and the suffix. Ly is the suffix. The prefix goes before the root of the word and the suffix after the root of the word, and it changes the word, sometimes the meaning. The idea might be the same, but the meaning has changed. So we have these girls are friends. This is a friendly cat, and this is an unfriendly frog. Okay? All from the one word friend. So if you know how to spell friend, then you can guess friendly and unfriendly. The only difference is friend, 1 syllable. Friendly, 2 syllables. Unfriendly, 3 syllables. Okay? Good. Is there a rule that might help you? Okay, there are rules in English spelling. Honest, there are rules in English spelling. So, here's one example. The Q. Okay? A Q should be followed by a U. So, the consonant Q should be followed by the vowel U. If you play Scrabble and you get a Q, you have to hope you get the letter U. There are a couple of exceptions, like chi. We'll come to those in a moment. What exceptions? Oh no, not exceptions. Be zen. There are exceptions. So, for example, squirt, queen, question, quest. Qua, 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 qua. Every Q has a U, unless you're playing Scrabble and you get G, which is really good if you haven't got a U. Remember that one when you're next playing Scrabble. An X is never followed by an S. Okay? For example, you have an axe, 2 axes. Okay? To relax, he relaxes. Okay? Oh, I'm so sorry. I've just noticed I've made a mistake. Did you spot my typo? Yeah? Axe should end with an E. That's a typo. I prove it here. To relax, he relaxes. Relax ends in an X, but he relaxes, you have to add E. You can't have X. It would be horrible to pronounce. He relax. No, he relaxes. So an X is never followed by an S. Okay. And when you want to add a prefix or suffix, remember the prefix and suffix? There are others. We will come across them as we do more sessions. But when you want to add them to a word ending in double L, you have to drop an L. For example, you think almost, you've got all and most. No, single L. And at the end of the word, as a suffix, you've got wonder and full. You think, oh, double L. No, drop an L. Wonderful. Okay? There are differences, of course. When you add another suffix to the wonderful, then it's a different ball game. But as a general rule, when you add a prefix or suffix to a word ending in double L, drop an L. Okay? However, as I say, exceptions. For every rule, there is at least one exception, in English especially. For example, we have our friend, friends, i.e. And there's a rule you often hear given to English learners. I before E, except after C. Except. Except after C only applies when the vowels, A, E, I, O, U, have a long E sound. So, for example, the long E sound, receipt, deceive. You see, except after C. But when it's the short E sound or sound, you've got ancient. So there's the C, but there's the IE. I thought you said except after C. Except, except, except. So ancient, science, there are others. And there are more exceptions without the C being involved. Neighbour, EI. Way, EI. Weird, you can remember weird is weird. Foreign, leisure, there. Okay? These are words you have to learn, the exceptions to the rule. You have to learn them. Okay? Okay. What about mnemonics? If you remember on our slide earlier, I introduced you to this word mnemonic. Can you use a mnemonic to help? Is there a spelling rule or is there a mnemonic? And there are little rhymes and little playing with words that you can use with tricky words, with tricky spelling especially. So, little tricks that can help you to remember things. You can spell out a sentence, okay, you can construct a sentence that spells out each letter of the word. Let me give you the example, because. Okay, because doesn't sound like anything like it's spelt. Okay, we're not going to too much detail of pronunciation in this session, but you'd have to agree with me, because when you see the word because, it doesn't look like because. That's because pronunciation is tricky. But if you find it difficult to spell, oh, hello, thank you, Adobe. If you find it difficult to spell the word because it doesn't sound like it's spelt, then you can use a mnemonic. B, big. E, elephants. C, can. A, always. U, understand. S, small. E, elephants. Big elephants can always understand small elephants. That's a mnemonic. Then you've got tricky words that are spelt almost the same, sound slightly different. One of the most common ones is dessert and desert. Which one's which? Yeah, dessert, desert. Very important if you're ordering dessert in the desert. So this one is desert. This one is dessert. How do I know? Well, a desert is sandy, one S. Sandy has one S. A dessert is full of sweet sugar, two S's. Okay? If you don't like a dessert is sandy because you've got the S in is, then you can use deserts are, a desert is sandy because you've got the two S's. You can say deserts are sandy. Sandy has one S. Either way, just remember sandy, but a dessert is full of sweet sugar. Two S's. And never forget, stressed is desserts spelt backwards. Trust me, it is. So if you're stressed, have some desserts. Then we've got the little mnemonic for friend. Ooh, don't fry your friend. That's when I was taught at school. Fry, F-R-I. Don't fry your friend. And then we've got here and here. Here, I'm here at my desk. Can you hear me? You hear with your ear. Once you know how to spell ear, you know that here is spelt when you're talking about hearing somebody's voice or hearing the birds singing. You know it's spelt with the E-A-R. Special. It's a little bit like because, special. When you see it written, it doesn't look right. But think, the CIA has special agents. Special CIA. And you can make up your own mnemonics. Make up little rhymes. Think of the words, when you find words that you're finding difficult to spell. I find separate really difficult to spell. And I had to train myself by saying separate. I always wanted to spell it with an E. Terrible. But I trained myself to accept it's with an A in the middle. Doesn't sound like it, but it is. Okay, be zen. Don't get stressed. Okay, so why is English spelling so hard? Why is it so difficult? Is it because we want to torture you? No. Okay, we have lots of borrowed words in English from other languages. Sometimes they keep their original spelling. There are also more sounds in English than we have letters for. So our alphabet is quite short, which is great because it's easy to learn, but letter combinations are used to fill in the gap. Like because, doesn't look like it, and special. There's no sh. There's no letter sh, so we use spesh. See, why isn't it special? Because it's special. It's a special word. Okay. We also have silent letters. Letters that we use to spell the word, but don't get pronounced. Ouch. Sorry. Silent letters. I'll give you an example. Dumb. It's terrible, isn't it? Dumb. Silent B. It's the only word I could think of off the top of my head. We will look at silent letters in pronunciation more, but it affects spelling. You have to know how to spell the word because the pronunciation doesn't always help you. Okay? And the spelling of words changes over time. English is a very fluid language. It has changed, thank goodness, since Shakespeare. By the way, Shakespeare was a terrible speller. A lot of good writers are awful spellers. And then we have the difference between Englishes. British English spelling and North American English spelling, they do differ, especially on word endings. Let me show you. I spell neighbour. Now there's another example of a silent letter. There's no pronunciation of the G in neighbour. It's not neighbour, and it's not hour, it's neighbour, okay? But Americans and North Americans will spell it without the U, neighbour, okay? Again, be zen, don't panic. Decide, I'm going to learn American spelling or I'm going to learn British spelling. And sometimes I'm going to get them mixed up. It's okay. Okay. So it's okay. Really, truly, it's okay. Don't stress. Don't stress too much about making mistakes. It takes time and effort to learn to spell. And even then, you will make mistakes. You might make typos too. So, as Winnie the Pooh put it, my spelling is wobbly. It's good spelling, but it wobbles, and the letters get in the wrong places. And if it can happen to Winnie the Pooh, it can happen to you. Don't stress. Okay. So it's a complicated thing. Learn slowly. When you find new words, practice how to spell them. Keep your notebook. Use it. Don't just write down a word and then forget it. That's why a lot of you struggle with vocabulary. Okay? Use your computers to help with your spelling, but don't rely on them. I'll show you why in a minute. And you can learn more about spelling on the network. We've got the spelling text page, which is the basics of spelling, a few more tips than I can put into a beginner's session. You can have fun with the trickier words. There are hundreds of homophones, words that sound the same, sometimes spelt the same, sometimes spelt differently. You have to learn them. And the common mistakes, words that can trick you up, make you think, oh, I know how to spell that, and then, whoops, you've lost it. That point on your test. Oh no. Now, computers can be your friends, but they can also be a little bit of an enemy. And I'll give you an example why here. Okay, let me read this out to you. I have a spelling checker. It came with my PC. It plainly marks for my review mistakes I cannot see. A checker is a blessing. It frees you loads of time. It helps me write all styles to read and aids me when a rhyme. Each phrase comes posed upon my screen. I trust to be a jewel. The checker pores o'er every word to check some spelling rule. Before availing checkers, our spelling might decline, and if we're lax or have a lapse, we would be made to whine. But now, because my spelling is checked with such great flair, there are no faults within my sight, of none I am aware. Now spelling does not faze me, it does not bring a tear. My papers all do glad then with wrapped words fair as here. To write with care is quite a feat, of which one should be proud, and we must do the best we can, so flaws are not allowed. I strike a key and type a word and wait for it to say. Whether I am wrong or right, it shows me straight away. As soon as a mistake is made, it knows before too long, and I can put the error right, it's rarely ever wrong. So you can see why I do praise such software for PCs, and why I break into a verse by writing want to please. I have run this poem through it. I am sure you're pleased to know. It's letter perfect in its way. My checker told me so. Okay, now, a little advanced, but I hope you get the joke. Because it's perfectly spelt, but it's nonsense. What it should say is, I have a spelling checker, it came with my PC. It plainly marks for my review mistakes I cannot see. Checker is a blessing. It frees you loads of time. It helps me write all styles to read and aids me when I rhyme. Each phrase comes posed upon my screen. I trust to be a jewel. The checker pores over every word to check some spelling rule. Before availing checkers, our spelling might decline, and if we lax or have a lapse, we would be made to whine. But now because my spelling is checked with such great flair, there are no faults within my sight, of none I am aware. Now spelling does not faze me, it does not bring a tear. Which would that be? My papers all do glad then with wrapped words fair as here. Do you know what? I've no idea what that means. No. My papers all do gladden with wrapped words fair as here. To write with care is quite a feat, of which one should be proud, and we must do the best we can. So flaws are not allowed. I strike a key and type a word and wait for it to say whether I am wrong or right. It shows me straight away. As soon as a mistake is made, it knows before too long, and I can put the error right. It's rarely ever wrong. So you can see why I do praise such software for PCs and why I break into a verse by writing want to please. I have run this poem through it. I'm sure you're pleased to know it's letter perfect in its way. My checker told me so. So don't rely on your your spell checker on your PC. It's only a computer program. Learn to spell. And on that note, sounding a little teachery, if you have any questions, you can ask on the forum, of course, and you can go to Facebook or Google Plus if you're not in a hurry, but the forum is quicker because other people are on the forum. And I will see you hopefully next week. And next week we'll be going on to the time of day, okay? Greetings and the time of day. So I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for coming. Bye.